Welcome, brave listeners, to the threshold of terror. Here, in the shadowed corners of reality, we delve into the stories that whisper in the darkness, the tales that make your blood run cold. Prepare yourself, for what you are about to hear may haunt your waking nightmares. Tonight we explore.
I knew it was a bad idea from the start. A very, very bad idea. But Dr. Amelia Armitage, with her disturbingly intense gaze and her collection of antique medical instruments that looked like they belonged in a Victorian torture chamber, was very persuasive. "Think of the possibilities, Jasper," she'd said, her voice a low, hypnotic hum. "The advancements in global female wellness. The eradication of dissatisfaction. It's revolutionary." I was Jasper Hollows, a mid-level bioacoustics researcher at the National Institute of Dubious Experiments, NIDE, a Nixtanian government facility that made Area 51 look like a petting zoo. My specialty was sound, specifically, the resonant frequencies of the human body. And Dr. Armitage, well, her specialty was pushing boundaries. Our current project, Project Euphonia, was her brainchild. The theory was simple, elegant, and utterly insane. Certain sound frequencies, when applied to a specific individual, could trigger heightened physiological responses in others. In this case, extreme heightened physiological responses. The subject? Rupert F. Kenderly, yes, that Rupert F. Kenderly. Nephew of President Braxton Kenderly, a man whose charisma was so potent it was rumored he could charm snakes into doing his taxes. Rupert, however, was different. He had a nervous tic, a perpetual sheen of sweat, and a voice that sounded like a rusty lawnmower gargling gravel. He was also, inexplicably, the newly appointed Nixtanian Secretary of Wellness. Dr. Armitage believed Kenderly's unique vocal cords held the key. "His voice," she'd explained, a glint in her eye, "is anomalous. It's an untapped reservoir of sonic potential." I had my doubts. My very loud, screaming doubts. But when Dr. Armitage showed me the funding allocation, an amount that could buy a small moon, my scientific curiosity, and my crippling student loan debt, won out. The experiment took place in NIDE Sublevel 7, a subterranean labyrinth of reinforced concrete and humming machinery. Kenderly, looking profoundly uncomfortable in a soundproof booth, was fitted with an array of sensors and electrodes. Dr. Armitage, her face illuminated by the flickering monitors, watched with an almost predatory intensity. I sat at the control panel, my fingers hovering over the frequency sliders, my stomach churning like a cement mixer. "Ready, Jasper?" Dr. Armitage said, her voice tight with anticipation. "Mr. Kenderly, please clear your throat." Kenderly, with a nervous cough, obliged. The sound that emerged was underwhelming. A dry, scratchy rasp that made the microphones wince. I adjusted the frequency sliders, trying to isolate the anomalous elements. Nothing. Just more throat clearing. "Again, Mr. Kenderly," Dr. Armitage urged, her voice losing a bit of its composure. Kenderly cleared his throat again, this time with a bit more gusto. It was less like a throat clearing and more like a small animal being strangled. And then something happened. A low hum resonated through the booth, a vibration that seemed to emanate not from the speakers, but from the very air itself. The monitors flickered, displaying a chaotic jumble of waveforms. And then a series of alerts began flashing on my console, warnings I'd never seen before, warnings like tachyonic feedback imminent, and reality bleed detected. "What's happening, Jasper?" Dr. Armitage demanded, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "I don't know," I stammered, my fingers flying across the controls. "The frequency, it's off the charts." And then the screaming started, not in the lab. Not from Kenderly. But from everywhere. A cacophony of moans, gasps, and cries that seemed to come from every speaker, every phone, every radio in the world. It was a sound of ecstasy. Of pure, unadulterated, release. I looked at Dr. Armitage. Her face was a mask of stunned disbelief. Kenderly, in the booth, was staring at his own throat, his eyes wide with horror. What did I do?" he croaked, his voice trembling. "What he did. What we did. We had unleashed something. Something global." The screaming continued, unabated, for what felt like an eternity. The building shook, the lights flickered, and the world outside descended into a symphony of, well, you get the picture. Then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Silence. A heavy, oppressive silence that was somehow more terrifying than the screaming. We stared at each other, the weight of what we had done pressing down on us like a physical force. We had achieved the impossible. We had altered the world, and not in a good way. The aftermath was chaotic. Reports flooded in from every corner of Nixtan and then the world. Mass hysteria. Traffic jams of, well, let's just say extremely satisfied drivers. A sudden, inexplicable surge in the birth rate 9 months later. President Kenderly, in a televised address, declared a national day of reflection. He also quietly tripled NIDE's funding and reassigned Dr. Armitage to a remote research facility in the Arctic Circle. As for me, I quit. I packed my bags, changed my name to something less acoustically significant, and moved to a small, isolated cabin in the Nixtanian wilderness. I spend my days studying the mating calls of squirrels and trying to forget the sound of a world climaxing. The worst part? Sometimes late at night when the wind is just right, I swear I can still hear it. A faint, echoing hum that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, and I know with a chilling certainty that somewhere, somehow, Rupert F. Kenderly is clearing his throat, and the world is listening.
And so, the darkness claims another tale. We hope you survived this journey into the macabre. If you dare to return for more chilling stories, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, so you never miss a descent into the abyss. Until next time, sleep well if you can.